Okay, my name is Bobby Vaught. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you so choose. In the description below, I'll put a link to lesson 1 of a series that I've done. Everything you need to know to understand investing. Up to 17 lessons now. If you're interested, each lesson has a link to the next one. So lesson 1 has a link in the description to lesson 2, which has a link to lesson 3, and so on and so forth. You will understand investing better than 99% of the people out there. So today's presentation is not about that, however. It's two different parts of this channel. There's the investing side, which I just mentioned, and I also do a lot of political type commentary, that kind of thing, which in fact is today. And so we're just gonna, there's a lot to cover here, so I'm just gonna jump right into it. This is a video that I found just early this morning. This is the afternoon of February the 1st, Sunday, 2026. This is a video that I found earlier this morning between when Roger Waters of Pink Floyd was on the Piers Morgan show. This was a little bit more than a year ago. And we're just going to analyze some things that he says. Just want to, before I get into this, I want to just clarify something, because it always kind of fascinated me how we tend to give, why is it that we give celebrities some extra credence in terms of their understandings of how the world works or how it should work? And I say that, and I want to make sure I'm clear here, because somebody's going to say, oh, well, Bob, you're saying that celebrities can't have valid opinions or valid views about the world. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm questioning is something that we've all noticed. Celebrities are somehow given extra credence that you don't have, or me, or the I don't know, the guy that works down there at the oil refinery, or the clerk at the grocery store where I was earlier today. I always just found that really interesting. And what I really find interesting, though, is how celebrities, whether they be musicians, actors, etc., they tend to expect this extra level of credence that other people don't get in terms of how they think the world works or how it should work and so forth. And I mean, they just expect that. I have I'm going to say maybe about 4 years ago, give or take. This is about Roger Waters. I've listened to Pink Floyd music, I don't know how many times, a lot. Great musicians, great band, one of the top 5 bands ever. I mean, it's incredibly creative music-wise, but I don't know when I listen to them, I don't listen to the lyrics in terms of, yeah, I'm gonna treat it with this great reverence, okay? And it's kind of annoying when I see people doing that, but probably about 3-4 years ago, I learned to play "Have a Cigar," a Pink Floyd song. I learned to play it on my guitar. I can do it now. I haven't played it in a long time. I forgot all the chord progressions and so forth. But, and I would never pretend to be, I just did the chords. I didn't really, get into the solo parts or anything. And make no mistake, I mean, David Gilmour is infinitely, he's one of the great guitarists, right? I mean, he is infinitely better at guitar than I could ever hope to be. I'm an amateur at it, but I did learn the chords and I could play along, and it was recognizable without any egregious mistakes or anything like that. But the point I was getting at was I had to pay attention to the lyrics of the song. And when I did that, what I discovered was and Roger Waters wrote the lyrics to the song, by the way. And if you listen to the lyrics, what he's suggesting is that there's business people, the music producers, they're these very shallow people, shallow capitalists. Oh, by the way, which one's pink? They're these very shallow people, whereas the artists themselves, Waters considers himself to be the artist, the more, I don't know if holistic is exactly the word I'm looking for, but somebody that has a better understanding of the world in some cosmic sense. They're above all that, you understand, that other stuff. And I mean, I just find it really fascinating how entertainers often convince themselves with these things. But in any event, let's get into it here. I don't want to waste too much time because there's a lot to cover here on this conversation between Roger Waters when he was on the Piers Morgan show. And the title of it is I'm Not Anti-Semitic, Roger Waters versus Piers Morgan on Israel, Palestine, and more. Okay? So we're just gonna. I just made some notes here. I mean, this whole conversation is like a little over an hour long, about 70 minutes long. So I could hardly, comment on every single thing in this entire presentation here. I'm just gonna have to cover a few things here. So let's start about right here, and let's hear what Roger Waters has to say.
But yeah, have I paid a price? Yeah, a bit of one, but I've been lucky. I've been very successful in my chosen career. And so I've never wanted for a few quid.
I'm going to have to skip up various places throughout the video or to comment on it, or this presentation just ended up being way too long. But anyway.
I don't invest. I'm not a capitalist.
How much are you worth?
That's none of your business.
It's been reported as over 300 million.
It's none of your business, Piers. Are you deaf? I can see you can read, but you're obviously a little bit deaf. It's none of your business.
Just curious.
Sunshine.
It's been reported.
Okay.
You admit you're a very wealthy guy.
I'm not going to talk about my personal wealth. It's none of your business, and it doesn't matter. What does matter is that I have stood up for human rights all my life, ever since the day that I marched, for the first time in 1960 or whenever it was, from Aldermaston to Trafalgar Square, and listened to Bertrand Russell and Canon Collins and Father Trevor Huddleston standing there in Trafalgar Square.
Okay. All right. So it's questionable. He may have a legitimate point. Maybe Piers Morgan, maybe it is none of his business what Roger Waters' net worth is, but there's no question Waters is a little embarrassed about it, okay, about his actual net worth. And he even goes so far as to say, oh, but I'm not a capitalist, you understand. I don't invest my money. Well, that raises obvious question. What does he do with it then? I'm pretty sure he's not just stuffing it in coffee cans and burying it in the backyard. He must be keeping it in a bank or maybe various number of banks, who knows. But I mean, the bank would be investing the money. So just clarifying this, so Waters is saying that, he's above capitalism and above investing. So in other words, he doesn't like the idea of capital formation, using his resources to effect capital formation and create economic growth and jobs and opportunity for other people. Got it. Okay, yeah, let's just advance up here a little bit. This guy is a total flake. I mean, a total 100% flake here. I'm just going to have to advance up to about right here because I can't cover all of this.
The two-state solution, everybody, with an IQ above room temperature.
They're talking about Israel now.
Agrees is a non-starter because of Eretz Israel and what's happened and all the building in the West Bank and what's happening in Gaza now, of course, as well.
Well, let me play you a clip. This is from a month ago.
Okay. Waters is correct on one level. A two-state solution is kind of out of reach here, but not for the reasons that he thinks. The reason a two-state solution is not really a viable solution in Israel is because who is Israel supposed to talk to about that in good faith? Now, who is it? Is it Hamas? Is it the Palestinian Authority? Is it the Hezbollah? Both Hamas and Hezbollah had in their very charter the destruction of Israel. Two-state solution. Yeah, sure. If there's somebody on the other side that Israel could talk to in good faith about that possibility, well, who is it? Let's continue.
This is on your YouTube.
It's not George Galloway, is it?
No, it's from your own YouTube channel.
Okay.
It's called Resist the Genocide, and you said this.
I want you to look at how performative this is.
This is all over. Israel is going to have to apologize, not just to the Palestinians, but to the whole of the rest of the world. Say we're very sorry, we got it all completely wrong, and we are now leaving. Okay, we go back to Eastern Europe or the United States or wherever we came from, and leave these people, the Palestinian people whose land this is, to, if they can, rebuild and live in peace.
Yeah, very performative. I guess that's because that's what artists do. They perform. Performative, relating to or of the nature of dramatic or artistic performance done or expressed insincerely or inauthentically, typically with intention of pressing others or improving one's own image. This is very performative. There's no substance there. So he's saying that all the Jews have to leave Israel. That's what he outright stated right there. So we're going to get back to that in just a moment. Regarding this genocide that Roger Waters and others claims happening, let's just cover a few things. In Israel proper, meaning 1948 borders, the Palestinian population has grown from 150,000 people to somewhere between 1.9 million and 2 million people today. But that's history. Let's talk about Gaza. So just keep that in mind, though. It's grown to about 2 million people. Let's talk about Gaza. So we know that Israel was warning Palestinians that when there was going to, be bombs or trying to take out Hamas, and that didn't just come from some right-wing organization. They came from every news source that I could find, including Reuters, including Amnesty International, including ABC News. Israel was warning Palestinians, hey, you need to go south. We're trying to take out Hamas here. And we also know that Hamas would block Palestinians from going south. Why? Because they wanted the casualties to report. So since October 7th of 2023, this is what's happened, among other things. Food and water. Israel has delivered 96,000 trucks of humanitarian aid directly from Israel to Gazans, including 1.5 million tons of food, 46,000 tons of medical supplies, 60,000 tons of water, 170,000 tons of shelter equipment, 1.5 million tons of food. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard of a genocide where people say, okay, we're going to get food and water and medical supplies and shelter equipment to the people we're trying to kill here? Nope, I didn't think so. Polio vaccines. Israel, this was even after October 7th of 2023. Children in Gaza in 2024, Israel, with the help of the WHO and UNICEF, in combination of those three entities did this, delivered a much needed polio vaccine to Palestinian children in Gaza, accomplishing over 90% coverage, about 600,000 targeted for the vaccine, the polio vaccine, the much needed polio vaccine. Over 90% coverage success rate in getting that vaccine to the Palestinian children. Medical help for Palestinians from Israel. Palestinians receive specialized care at the Hadassah Medical Center. That's actually two hospitals in Jerusalem. The Hadassah Medical Center. Let's see what else we got. Israel's civil society and NGO initiatives for Palestinian patients. 3 of them here that I took note of. One called Save a Child's Heart, free cardiac surgery, and medical care for Palestinian children. Another one called, this is coming from Israel, Physicians for Human Rights, that's a help in the West Bank, free medical care and free medications to thousands of patients to underserved communities in the West Bank, to Palestinians. Have you ever heard of a genocide where you get free medical care to the people you're wanting to, kill? Yeah, me neither. The Perez Center for Peace. Hundreds of Palestinian children receive free medical care from Israeli surgeons. You ever heard of a genocide where you take the other sides take their children and give them free medical care from your surgeons? Yeah, me neither. 96,000 trucks. Post October 7th, 2023, Israel delivering 96,000 trucks of humanitarian aid to Palestinians in Gaza, including 1.5 million tons of food. In Israel proper, Palestinian population has grown from 150,000 people in 1948 to somewhere between 1.9 million and 2 million people. If this is a genocide, Israel has to be really bad at it. This has to be the worst attempt at a genocide in history. Let's continue. This is very, I just wanted to do a little substance here. Because Waters is a, he does this very performative thing. His acting. Let's continue. I wanted to go up to, let's see, where did I want to? Let's see, what is that? Let's go to about 1903. About the 1903 point, right about in here, right about in there.
Citizens of this new state.
But the state, to be clear, would be Palestine.
Well, my personal opinion is that would be what it should be called. It was called Palestine up to 1948, and it could. But hang on a minute, that's an open.
Yeah, you know why? You know why? Why it was called Palestine up until 1948? Israel was attacked numerous times over the centuries. Jerusalem itself was captured 44 times over many, many centuries. They were attacked by the Assyrians, by the Babylonians, by the Persians, by the Greeks, by the Roman Empire, of course, and later the Byzantine Empire. The Byzantine Empire basically, it's the Eastern Roman Empire after the split, of the Roman Empire. You see, you had the Western Roman Empire and then the Eastern Roman Empire, also known as the Byzantines. They all attacked Israel. That's why they were scattered throughout the world. You know why it's called Palestine up until 1948? Because the Romans named it that. The Romans named it Palestine. They didn't want to call it Judea or Israel or anything like that. They wanted to call it Palestine as it was punitive to the Jews in the area who wanted to call it Israel or some other name like Judea or Israel or something like that. That was the reason. The Roman Empire way back in the day said, nope, we're going to call it Palestine. The reason the Jews got scattered throughout the world is because they kept getting attacked by everybody over a period of centuries. Let's keep going up here. Let's go up here to about 2726. 2726, right about in here. And turn the camera back around. Right about there. Okay. can't get my little thing here going right. Okay, that's close enough, whatever.
And that you and many people share your view that they believe that Israel is perpetrating a genocide on Gaza.
Yeah, I'm not going
And you talk about the
I already went through that about this alleged genocide. Okay, so
to eliminate the people of Gaza. But surely that clip that I played, when you talk about the Israelis having to go back to where they come from.
If they could apologise for what they do, obviously.
No, Roger, let me ask a question.
Okay.
On that point of wherever you come from, back to Eastern Europe, wherever you come from, to tell 7 million people to go back where they come from, many people would view that as racist, and in the case of Israelis, to be anti-Semitic, something you've been accused.
Yeah, okay, so the history. So this is biblical, it's history, okay? The Jews left Egypt, we believe probably about 1400 BC. So other scholars say it was more about 1200 BC. They don't know, somewhere around that time frame. There were slaves in Egypt. They left, this is just historical, okay? They left Egypt and went to basically the land that we now call Israel. And so that was roughly what? 14 and 2, and it's about roughly about 30, let's call it about 3,500 years, give or take. Or no, probably 3,400 years, somewhere between 32 to 3,400 years ago. Yeah, okay, so let's advance up to about 3012 here. And here, Roger Waters' response. Let's go up to about right here. Right there.
Or better than the President of the United States.
Yes, I am.
Well, mental acuity appears to be much
Anyway,
sharper.
let me finish. All of what you're saying, though, may well be fascinating to historians and Jewish scholars and scholars of other religions, but it's completely irrelevant to the genocide that is going on now in the West.
Okay, I already covered that part about the genocide. Let's give this a few more seconds here.
But it's not irrelevant to why Jewish people, when you say
so
you should
it's not irrelevant to why they.
Allow me to translate that. It's not. Waters doesn't want that history to be relevant because it doesn't fit his narrative. That's what he's really saying. That's all that means. The only thing that he wants to be relevant is what he merely is only the information that he wants to acknowledge, and sometimes he doesn't even acknowledge other. If you're not going to put everything in the context of that history, well, how can you properly put anything in context if you're not going to acknowledge the history of that entire region? How are you going to do that? Let's advance up to 3141, roughly about in here.
And I don't care about what your history books from Egypt. I'm not saying you're wrong. I haven't read them, and frankly, I couldn't care less.
He couldn't care less because it's not the information that he wants to know. That's what he really means. Let's advance up to 3218. Wrote about here. Another point.
2023, when the Hamas attacks occurred. George Galloway was here last week, and he described them as terror attacks. Do you agree with that?
I'm not going to have this conversation. I've seen you have it with everybody, and you're. It's a waste of time.
Why?
Because you always reach the same conclusions, and you always waste 10 or 12 minutes.
Let's waste 1 minute. All I ever ask people is, do you condemn what Hamas did?
I condemn the killing of civilians, always, whoever does it, wherever it is. I condemn war crimes.
I need to back that up here because I wanted to make sure we got
2023, when the Hamas attacks occurred. George Galloway was here last week, and he described them as terror attacks. Do you agree with that?
I'm not going to have this conversation. I've seen you have it with everybody.
This guy's a flake. Roger Waters is a flake. He doesn't want to have a conversation about anything. It's called cognitive dissonance. Any information, cognitive dissonance. When you have two or more pieces of information in your mind that creates discomfort, and you have to dismiss the conflicting pieces of information that cause discomfort, and you have to dismiss one of them in order to alleviate that discomfort. In his case, he has cognitive dissonance on the entire thing, on all of this. He dismisses whatever he doesn't want to be true so that to relieve the discomfort in his mind. That's all he's doing. Let's advance up to 43:21. Only a couple more things here to cover, then I'm going to wrap this up. About two more things. 43:21, right about in here. Right there. This has to do with Steve Bono.
Bono from U2 introduced his song Pride in the Name of Love at the Sphere in Vegas.
I know.
And he said, in light of what's happened in Israel and
The Stars
Gaza.
of David.
Wait a minute. In the light of what's happened in Israel and Gaza, a song about non-violence seems somewhat ridiculous, even laughable. But our prayers have always been for peace and for non-violence. But our hearts and our anger, you know where that's pointed. So sing with us and those beautiful kids at that music festival. He later referred to those killed by Hamas that day at the festival as Stars of David. Now, you responded on Al Jazeera by saying anyone who knows Bono should go and pick him up by his ankles and shake him until he stops being an enormous shit. We have to start saying to these people, your opinion is so disgusting and so degrading, sticking up for the Zionist entity.
Yes.
What he did a couple of weeks ago in the Sphere in Vegas, singing about the star.
Okay, so you got the idea. So I just looked it up here. I wasn't familiar with this thing about between Waters and Bono, Steve Bono. Bono, the lead singer of U2, expressed a complex and evolving reaction to the October 7, 2023 Hamas attack on Israel, which he initially described as an act of evil and later criticized as a diabolical trap for Israel, they're proactively trying to create a war. Yeah, no kidding. His response involved both condemning the atrocities committed by Hamas. He referred to the attack in which many young music fans were killed as a diabolical trap intended to start a war, and referred to the actions of Hamas as evil. This was just days after the attack on October 8, 2023. That's one day after the attack. During a U2 concert at the Sphere in Las Vegas, Bono dedicated the song Pride in the Name of Love to the victims of the Nova Music Festival, altering the lyrics to reference the attack. So, evidently, Roger Waters immediately goes and attacks Bono for this. This was what Bono, so this was one day, October 8th, 2023. This is one day after the attack. So nothing else that's happened in Gaza since then anybody even knew about at the time, could have even known about. And yet here's Waters just slamming Steve Bono only because he went in at this concert in Las Vegas and dedicated this song to the victims of the Nova Music Festival. What was that about, Roger Waters? What, is he upset? Is he upset that somebody would actually have empathy and sympathy for the victims of the October 7th, 2023 attack? Or what is it? Roger Waters? Seriously. One more thing here. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to advance this way up here. And obviously, if you wanted to see this whole thing, go ahead. It's easy to find. There it is right there, the title. I'm Not Anti-Semitic, Roger Waters versus Piers Morgan on Israel, Palestine, and more. It was a conversation that took place a little over a year ago. Let's advance up to about right here. I can't get it exactly where I want it. That's close enough. Okay, here we go.
Vladimir Putin, then, given what he's been waging in Ukraine.
What do you mean? No, of course
Well,
not.
he illegally invaded a sovereign democratic European country.
Yeah, and
he's killed many thousands of innocent Ukrainians in the process.
Well, hold on a minute. I actually spoke to the Security Council upon this matter a few years ago when it happened in 2022, and it should never have gone on. The Russians sued for peace in April 2022. That's all just beginning to come out now. But our Western leaders refused to allow Zelensky to make peace with them.
You said in 2022 that
Which actually makes no sense whatsoever. So Putin invades Ukraine in almost exactly a year ago, 4 years ago now. This is early 2026, so this happens in the early 2022. This invasion, this war, according to the Kremlin, special military operation that they thought was going to last a few days, and they were going to march all the way through Kiev, and and it didn't happen for them, and that was 4 years ago. Putin sued for peace. Putin has had no interest in anything other than completely taking all of Ukraine. That's it. I mean, give me a break. Let's continue here.
the talk of an attack, this is a week before the invasion, you told Russia Today,
Yeah.
the talk of an attack was bullshit.
I thought I was
Western
wrong.
propaganda to demonize Russia.
I thought that, and I was.
And you couldn't have been more wrong, could you?
No, I couldn't have been more wrong about that. Putin did invade Ukraine.
But could it be that Putin can't really be trusted in the way that you thought?
Putin sort of did what he said he was going to do.
So he did invade Ukraine, but we're going to trust him because, hey, he did what he said he was going to do.
Actually,
Why didn't you think he was
Putin
going to
had
do
been
it?
talking about a new system for European security since the Munich conference in 2007, where he made a long speech saying, we need to talk about the...
We need to talk about it. He just wanted Ukraine. That was it. First Crimea, and then roughly about 12 years ago, and then the rest of Ukraine. We need to talk about it. Well, security. Russia needs to honor the borders that they agreed to when Ukraine gained its independence in 1994. That Ukraine was already secure. And they were looking, and I know these Ukrainian people. I talked to them. I have a long story, but they were looking west, not east. If you know what I mean. I mean, they wanted to be, they were talking about eventually becoming part of the European Union, perhaps. I don't know if that ever would have taken shape. Perhaps not, but I mean, they wanted to be part of the West.
Ukraine and about the Baltic
Is he
states.
waging genocide in Ukraine?
Of course not.
Really?
No, of course
Why?
not.
He wants to take vast swathes.
Hang on a minute.
Oh, of course not. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a moment.
Those people back to be Russian.
Let's not have this conversation. We know there was an
About the
illegal.
Ukraine
There was
war.
there was an illegal. The Maidan coup. Do you agree that that was illegal and that it was a U.S. paid for and inspired?
It was certainly looked corrupt. Yeah.
All right. Well, can we not have that conversation? What he has always called the special military operation, I believe to have been an illegal invasion of Ukraine under Article 51 of
So
the
what-
UN.
Yeah, this is about to get interesting.
Right.
Excuse me. As I said,
I'm just trying to get you to clarify what you think.
as I said,
So a war crime.
maybe, I don't know, you need to ask the lawyer.
It's an illegal invasion.
I don't think we need to ask, I don't think you need to be an attorney. Ask the lawyers. Yeah, you don't need to be an attorney to know what illegal means. And it's war crimes. What else would it be?
The ICJ.
Well, hang on, Roger.
Don't
Look,
ask me.
if it's an illegal invasion, with respect to you, it is a war crime.
If it is, I believe
You
you.
just called it an illegal invasion.
If you say it is, it
No,
is.
you said it was.
I'm not. I don't want to have the conversation. Have the
You
conversation.
literally just said.
He doesn't want the conversation because it makes him uncomfortable. That's the reason.
And it was an illegal invasion of Ukraine.
Yes.
So I said, so it's a war crime. And you said, I don't know.
What's
What's an illegal invasion then?
And I don't know. And if you do know, you're telling me, and I say thank you.
You
Can
don't
we-
think an illegal
let's
invasion
move
is a
on.
war crime?
Let's move on.
Why can't you just answer a straight question?
I can. I just.
You can't. You're refusing to.
You can't recognise a straight.
Is it because you don't want to call
answer.
Putin a war criminal?
That's the reason.
I'm not
That's the reason. He doesn't want to call Putin a war criminal.
sure if Putin is a war criminal.
Even though he perpetrated an illegal invasion of a European country?
Listen, as soon as I leave this meeting, and when I'm with somebody who understands international law,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what you're an expert on, Roger Waters, international law.
I'm going to ask them, but I'm not going to take it.
Okay. Yeah, it was more than just an invasion. There are numerous war crimes in Ukraine. Too many, so many, I can't even remember them all. Let's see, amongst other things, there was that theater in Mariupol that, as we recall, in Mariupol, the Ukrainians were trying to find some safety, so they all went into this theater, and they clearly marked in the Russian language outside the theater in these big, huge letters, children here, something like that. Russian language is the common language between Russia and Ukraine. Ukrainians also speak, many of them speak another language called Ukrainian. But in any event, they put these letters in big, large letters outside the theater, children here. And then Russia just decided to bomb it anyway, 600 people dead, including children. That was just one event. I mean, it goes on and on and on. If you could have if you could imagine 9/11, if all of Manhattan was gone, all the way from about the World Trade Centers all the way down to Times Square, that pretty much describes several cities in Ukraine. Kharkiv, Mariupol probably getting the worst of it. I mean, seriously. So, but in any event, not to mention things like, we estimate approximately 20,000 Ukrainian children ripped out of their mother's arms, stolen, taken into Russia for re-education camps. Yeah, I'm going to have to start wrapping this up, or this is going to go way too long, but the bottom line is Roger Waters is a flake. He just is. This is what happens when, like I said at the beginning of this presentation, I would not question celebrities can have very valid views about how the world works or how they think it should work. I would never suggest that couldn't be the case, but I don't know why their views are given more credence than anybody else. They didn't invite you. Nobody invited you on this show. Why not? And the celebrities expect to be given this extra degree of credence. They do. And all too often, what we find out is when you give them a chance to actually speak, like Roger Waters here, when they get out of their memorized lines that they either wrote for a song or acting in a movie or whatever it is, in this case Pink Floyd, it would be music, when they have to get out of their memorized lines and actually have to think, this is what happens. We see it over and over and over again. When celebrities actually have to get out of their memorized lines and actually have to think on their feet, we find out in many cases they just prove to be flakes, including Roger Waters here. He's a flake. But I don't question the musical genius of Pink Floyd. I really don't. When I listen to Pink Floyd, when I used to listen to Pink Floyd, I was listening more to the sound. I don't give I'm not going to give his lyrics some, great reverence or treat it like gospel or something. Why would I? I find people who do that to be a little scary, quite frankly. But in any event, I'm going to have to leave it right there. Or this has already probably gone a little bit too long. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you so choose. In the description below, I'll put a link to lesson 1 of a series that I did, Everything You Need to Know to Understand Investing. And other than that, until next time, hope life is treating you well. You have a great day.